Have you ever had like one of those kind of like big ideas, or
Hmm.
maybe something you felt a little bit, I don't know, vulnerable about, the kind of thing you tuck away, hold close?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like there's this almost a tension there, right? Like deciding what to share, what to keep to yourself. And that's what we're diving into today, the power of secrets.
It's so interesting you say tension because I think that really is at the heart of it. I mean, it's a bit like, standing at the edge of a cliff, the wind kind of swirling around you and it's whispering these secrets, and you have to decide, do I let them go? Do I hold on to them?
It's a great image, right? And it makes you realize that this whole idea, it's not just some abstract concept, it's deeply rooted in human nature.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the source material for this deep dive so fascinating. We're talking about wisdom that has stood the test of time.
Exactly. And one of the things that struck me right away was this anecdote about a London merchant from the 19th century. Talk about
Oh,
timeless.
yeah, I remember that.
He basically, well, he learns the hard way about the dangers of sharing his big plans. Really makes you think about how some things just haven't changed all that much.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to explore today. We're going to uncover 5 areas where silence can be a real source of strength in your life. Not just some, you know, vague idea, but actual practical insights that you can use.
I love that actionable stuff because, it's one thing to talk about these concepts, but what can we actually do with this wisdom? How can we apply it?
That's the goal.
Yeah.
So let's jump right in. The first area that our source material highlights is plans. Everyone's got them right.
Right. And they are, well, kind of like seeds. They need the right environment to sprout and grow.
And sometimes sharing them too early can be like, well, I don't know, like exposing those seeds to a harsh frost. They just might not make it.
Exactly. Like, remember that merchant in London we were talking about? He had this big idea for a new shop and he was so excited about it. He told all his friends.
And one of those friends, not so friendly, it turns out.
Oh, yeah. That friend saw an opportunity and he opened up a nearly identical shop just a day before the merchant was set to launch.
Can you imagine? It's a classic example of, well, I guess you could say envy, right?
Absolutely. The source even uses this powerful Russian proverb, envy, ajora, shesheres, which basically means envy is a wind that blows away your dreams like smoke.
That's so evocative, isn't it? So what's the takeaway here? Why are plans so vulnerable, especially in those early stages?
Well, I think it's a couple of things. First, there's the potential for, as we saw, people taking advantage, like that friend who stole the merchant's idea. But it's not just that. Sometimes sharing your plans too early can actually sap your own motivation. It's like you get that premature sense of accomplishment.
You're telling everyone you're going to do it, so it almost feels like you've already done it.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the whole thing about unsolicited advice and opinions. Even if people mean well, it can be really discouraging to hear doubts and negativity, especially when your plan is still fragile. Like those seeds haven't even sprouted yet.
Right. So the advice from our source is pretty clear. Keep your plans under wraps until you've got some momentum going.
Yeah, at least until you've taken that first big step.
Okay, so let's move on to the next area where keeping things to yourself can be a good idea.
Hmm.
This one is, well, a bit closer to home.
Oh.
Our weaknesses.
Ah, yes. This one is interesting because it deals with a different kind of vulnerability. Not just protecting your ideas, but protecting yourself.
And the source uses this really striking image of a knight. You know, the kind of knight you see in those old stories. Shining armor, looks totally invincible.
But then he makes this kind of foolish mistake.
He starts boasting about how strong his helmet is, how nothing can pierce it.
Which, okay, maybe that's true, but in the process, he reveals something crucial.
He lets slip that his legs aren't as well protected.
And guess what happens in the next battle? His enemies, they go straight for his legs.
It's like he handed them the instruction manual.
Exactly. So what's the lesson here?
Don't tell everyone where your weak spots are. It seems obvious, but we do it all the time, don't we?
We do. And I think it's important to distinguish between genuine connection, vulnerability in a safe space, and just broadcasting your weaknesses to the world.
Well,
Not everyone has your best interests at heart. Even those who do, sometimes that knowledge can be, well, unintentionally used against you.
right. It's like giving someone a weapon, even if they don't intend to use it. Okay, let's move on to another area where discretion is key. Money.
Ah, finances. Such a loaded topic.
It is. And our source has this great story about an old man who wins the lottery. You know, a small village, everyone knows everyone.
It's like a fairy tale almost.
Yeah, but it quickly takes a turn. He can't help himself. He starts telling people, just whispering at first, about his 100 gold coins.
And that's all it takes. The whispers turn into rumors, the rumors turn into a crowd at his door. Everyone wants a piece of his good fortune.
Suddenly, he's got all these new friends, people he barely knows, asking for loans, favors.
And it doesn't stop there. Eventually, his house is robbed, the money's gone. And the thing is, everyone in the village knows he had that money. So who's going to believe he was robbed?
It's a cautionary tale, for sure.
It really highlights the dangers of revealing your financial situation, especially sudden wealth. It can attract the wrong kind of attention, envy, greed, and even criminal behavior.
So the lesson, keep your money matters private.
Let your wealth, or lack thereof, be your own business. It's safer that way.
Okay, let's talk about another area where we might want to, well, think twice before we open our mouths. Conflicts.
Oh, those are inevitable, aren't they?
They are. No matter how close you are to someone, there are going to be disagreements, arguments. And our source has this story about a seamstress named Anna. She gets into a pretty heated argument with her husband.
Happens to the best of us.
Right. And she does what a lot of us do. She vents to a friend, tells her all about the fight, all the details.
Seeking a little support, a little understanding.
Exactly. But her friend, well, she tells someone else, and that someone tells someone else, and you can guess what happens. The whole village is talking about Anna's marital problems.
The gossip mill. Once it starts, it's hard to stop.
And now, instead of just a fight with her husband, Anna's got the whole village weighing in. Their opinions, their judgments.
Talk about adding fuel to the fire.
Right. It probably made the original conflict even worse. So what's the takeaway for us?
Be careful who you share your conflicts with, because even if someone is trustworthy, once that information is out there, you lose control of the narrative. It can get twisted, exaggerated, and ultimately it just creates more drama.
And it probably doesn't help solve the original problem.
Probably not. Sometimes the best way to deal with a conflict is to keep it contained, to work it out within the relationship where it started.
Okay, so last but not least, let's talk about dreams. Those big, ambitious goals we hold close to our hearts.
Ah, dreams. They're so precious, yet so fragile, aren't they?
They are. And our source shares this really poignant story about an ancient Greek poet. He dreams of writing an epic poem that will surpass even Homer.
That's a pretty ambitious dream.
It is.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he makes the mistake of sharing his dream at a feast, surrounded by other poets, people he admires.
Maybe hoping for encouragement?
Probably. But instead, they laugh at him. You, they say. Who do you think you are to even think about surpassing Homer?
Oof. That's gotta sting.
It does. And the source says that after that, his dream just kind of withered. He lost his confidence, his belief in himself.
It's like those dreams were these delicate little sprouts and someone just came along and, well, trampled all over them.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
So what's the lesson here? Why are dreams so easily crushed by outside opinions?
Well, I think it's because dreams are so personal, so tied to our sense of self. And when they're in that early stage, before they've had a chance to really take root, they're incredibly vulnerable to negativity, especially if that negativity comes from people we respect, people we look up to.
So the advice from our source is to protect those dreams.
Yeah.
Keep them close to your heart, nurture them privately, and don't share them with the world until they're strong enough to withstand a little criticism.
Exactly, because not everyone is going to understand your vision. And sometimes even well-meaning feedback can be more harmful than helpful.
So let's recap. We've covered 5 areas where silence can be a powerful tool for personal strength. Your plans, your weaknesses, your finances, your arguments, and your dreams.
It's really quite remarkable when you think about it. Silence, often seen as passive, can actually be a very active form of self-protection.
It's like building a wall around those precious parts of yourself, those things that need time and space to grow.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is it's something we can all do. We all have the power to choose what we share and what we keep private.
So here's a little challenge for you, our listener. Pick one thing, just one thing, that you're going to keep to yourself today.
Maybe it's a plan you're working on, a vulnerability you're struggling with, a disagreement you're trying to resolve.
Whatever it is, see what happens when you consciously choose to keep it under wraps. See how it feels to hold on to that secret, to nurture it in silence.
You might be surprised at the strength and clarity you find.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I'll leave you with one final thought. What will you choose to keep hidden? What whispers will you hold close to your heart, letting them guide you, shape you, strengthen you in silence?
The unseen and the unsaid hold so much power. We've only just begun to explore the depths of that power.
And who knows what other secrets await us in the silence?